Well, hello and a very warm welcome to this session organized by the Financial Literacy Council of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce, WICCI. I am Mugdha Kalra and the FinLit Council from the FinLit Council, and it is my pleasure today to speak to the founders of MentorMyBoard. Before we start, a little about our council and MentorMyBoard. A national business chamber for women, Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, WICCI, boosts and builds women's entrepreneurship and businesses through greater engagement with government, institutions, global trade, and networks. Mentor My Board is a platform that aims to create enriched boardrooms by mentoring and enabling directors to make sustainable, dynamic, progressive, disruptive choices. And we at the Finlit are extremely proud and excited to be the community partners of the Women Directors Conclave 2022 that Mentor My Board is organizing in partnership with BSE on the 16th of September. And believe you me, it promises to be a power-packed day of sessions that start at about 10 a.m. and go on till about 5 p.m. at the BSE International Convention Hall in Mumbai. I'm joined here by the founders of Mentor My Board, Neha, Shah, and Divya Momaya, and the president of the Financial Literacy Council for WICCI, Nita Menezes. Welcome, ladies. Through the course of this discussion, I will be talking about Finlit WICCI and also about Mentor My Board. But first, Women Directors Conclave, how did that event come about, Divya, if I may ask you so?
Okay, so basically, first of all, thank you so much, Mugdha and Nita, for giving us this opportunity to, be here with you today and talk about conclave. And let me tell you, I have been working on this entire concept of Mentor My Board last 4 years. I sit myself on few boards as independent women director. I'm a promoter director of my own startup. So I'm a startup director as well, promoter director as well, independent director as well. So I've seen a lot of roles from different angles. And I, being a company secretary by profession, I have been always last 20 years I have been working with the boardrooms. So that's how I have seen that there is a gap at the level of the boards. And if I give you statistics that will help you or the audience here better, in India we have 7 crore businesses which are registered in MSME, the Ministry of MSME, and only around 30 lakh corporates exist in India. Corporate means private limited, public limited, listed companies, and only 8 to 9,000 listed companies are there in India. So there's a still huge corporatization which needs to happen. People need to know what corporate governance is. How do they run their businesses with better governance practices? In a lot of companies, private limited companies, boards even don't exist. All those things are on paper, and that's where I have been last 4 years working on building better governance practices in the mid-sized companies, growing companies, and that's where the entire concept started working in. And I was, as it is, working on the the segments, the independent directors, women directors, promoter directors. So last year in around June or May or June, we had done my voice is getting echoed or something.
No, it's fine. A little, but are you using headphones? If you can take off the headphones, it will be fine.
No, I don't have headphones because I'm from iPhone. iPad. So, okay. So
I think it's fine.
Fine. So last year we did our Women Directors Conclave 2021, and which was participated by more than 600 participants, and it was virtual. But this year, after everything started opening up, and I was planning to do it offline. Now, how do we do it? When do we do it? So that were the questions which were in our mine and Neha, we kept discussing. And exactly the same time, February 2022, when we just finished our Independent Directors Summit, which was in January, and I read a news, I read an article where our Honorable Finance Minister mentioned that she is not finding capable women directors who are ready to join boards. And that actually triggered me that I was already working on this concept last year also, and we are building a community of women directors who are there to help sharpen, learn the boardroom skills, network, and talk, on their challenges in the boardroom. So I have been, I approached her. Yes, it took little longer time to convince her to be here with us. And let me tell you, this Women Directors Conclave 2022, Honorable Finance Minister is gracing the occasion, and she is going to enlighten all of us on her views and what the government is looking at the role of women directors. I mean, that's going to be, you know, uh, that aligned me to what I was doing. That okay, I am on a right track, or me and Neha are on a right track. So that's actually, the WTC 2022 is all about.
Congratulations on that big achievement. Just putting the show together and getting someone as important and someone who can actually push the narrative forward, like Madam Minister herself, is fantastic, and we look forward to that. So, Neha, tell me, what can one expect from the conclave? And a lot of I've been getting a lot of SMSs about who can join in and who can be part of the conclave. Can anyone who wants to know about how to be on a board, how to be a board member, or how to be more assertive in these? An existing board member who is feeling that I need to be more assertive and I need my voice to be heard. So who is this conclave for?
So thank you, Nita, first of all, and thank you, Mugdha, for having us here with you in this discussion for the Women Directors Conclave. So coming back to your question, Mugdha, so this conclave is for all kinds of directors. So may it be an aspiring director, a woman director, a promoter director, a startup director, possibly who doesn't know much about governance. So this conclave will be a eye opener for all kinds of directors, even independent directors who are already on boards of companies, but then their voices are not heard sometimes, or if they feel that they need to add that kind of value to the boards. So this conclave is for all the directors and for the aspiring directors as well. uh, Not to mention even the senior executives, the senior management executives who are aspiring to go to the boards in the companies, even they can attend. So this conclave is for everyone. And coming back to the what you can expect from this conclave, so definitely the key highlight of the conclave is our Madam FM, who will be addressing the gathering. But then there are three panel discussions when we are opening the session. There would be three panel discussion on various topics, followed by a keynote speech. So Ekta Kapoor is going to give a keynote speech along with Vinita Singhal. And then it will be followed by our Madam FM, who will be addressing the gathering.
Wonderful. I saw the lineup, and it was very interesting and heartening to see how you have put together this whole program. And one of the things that caught my attention was the fact that, as Divya also mentioned, that the perception is that women directors, are hard to find, and it is also one of the sessions at the conclave. Uh, in your years with Mentor My Board, what have you found? What has created this perception? Divya, if I may start with you first.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely, I'll tell you the why behind the topic, and leaving the topic to be discussed by the panel in the conclave, and let everyone be there at the conclave to know more what perception and everything. But when I read the article, I mean, where Honorable Finance Minister mentioned in a budget meeting that she doesn't find women directors, and that actually made me think that is there a real dearth of women, capable women who are ready to join boards, or it's the dearth of people who are looking for women to be there with them at the boards. I mean, I'm talking of the promoter directors, or the businesses or the companies. So what's the gap? Is there a gap? Because there is a database by Ministry of Corporate Affairs itself, which is Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. They maintain a data bank of people who can join boards as independent director, women director. So they have close to around 5,000, 6,000 women as who have enrolled in that data bank. But then what's the reason why women are not coming and taking up the position? That's number one. So that actually led me to think on another topic. I mean, the second topic is the mindset game. Who really needs the change?
Right.
And that's how the entire lineup has been created. And we even have speakers from regulator side. So we have Rujuta, who's assistant registrar of companies. She's going to talk her perspective from Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We have Ms. Harini Balaji, who has drafted provisions of women director into the listing regulations, which actually mandated women directors mandatorily to be there on boards of every listed company. So
Right.
we have those perspectives also, and I'm sure it will be real exciting and enlightening to listen to what they have seen in the industry overall. Last, I mean, the provisions of women directors came in only in the 2013. Before 2013, there was no concept of women directors in India. There
Right.
were women who were capable, who were leading from front. I mean, whether it is Arundhati Bhattacharya or Shikha Sharma, they all were there, were leading the banks and there. But then, lot of boards didn't have it. So from 2013, when the regulation mandated it, then a lot of companies started having women directors on board, and that triggered me to have a third topic: reservation versus capability. So all these three topics, we kind of align to each other. At the same time, they all are so connected to each other.
Right.
And most important thing is, all the topics are so relevant to discuss upon, because we have hardly discussed on these topics till now. So that
Yeah,
was
in
one
fact,
point.
Nita and I keep talking about at the Finlit Council about financial literacy, and that is what is the mandate for also the WICCI Financial Literacy and Management Council. If I could take you through that, it's a young council with a following of 300 members. It's growing. Our council's vision is to empower women and children through financial literacy towards a better financial future, and we're looking at engaging with a lot of stakeholders in that field. And whenever we have spoken, Nita, we have always spoken about the entry level, right? Financial literacy वहां से शुरू करें, उसके बाद उसको हम scale up करें. लेकिन एक चीज जो commonly notice की जाती है, and Nita, you are a financial coach, you have spoken to men and women as directors on boards, uh, is that they also need coaching. They also need clarity on what their roles are, right?
Right.
And then when you speak to a woman leader, even at that even at that rank, right, at that high up in hierarchy, you still feel that they themselves also are in a place where they might need help. What has your view been through this time, Nita? What has your experience been of working with these women? What are the challenges typically that you come across, even with women at that higher level?
Right. So, Mugdha, I always believe everybody needs a coach. Even Sachin Tendulkar needed a coach. A mentor is required, whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, or any aspect of life. And I think mentoring is so important today, whether it's a man or a woman, it is required. But yes, definitely more women, because I feel somewhere women have always taken a back seat when it comes to, in fact, managing their own money. They've depended on the male member in the family, their father, uncle, brother. Also, when it's their personal finance, so much so, like you, like what you said was so right. I used to consult a lot of CFOs and CFO women. They used to handle millions and billions of dollars for their company, but their own finance was actually handled by someone else. And even when it comes to getting on board or even negotiating their salaries, when I used to deal with corporate women, I would feel that there's something which there was always some kind of thing that used to come in the way. Ki, how can I ask for more money? How can I, talk about more money? Whether I come out to feel it looks as though I'm more greedy, or is that I want something more always. So I think that was something which motivated me to, in fact, start Wiki Financial Literacy and Management Council, because I felt financial literacy is required by everyone. In fact, any person, any industry, any profession, you have to deal with money at some point of time or the other. And if you know how to learn to manage money, and that too from a young age, or even when a woman actually is aware of it, not when there's an unfortunate event, when she has to step in, when she has to step in on the board of the company, if she is in a business owner's family, or whether she is, at a very high position in a particular corporate, she should be aware and alert, and that should come, much ahead. And that's where, as a mentor and coach, I used to always tell my clients, when we used to do an individual kind of when we used to do a plan for them, we would always say involve everyone in the family. If there are business families, we would sit with generations, where everyone knows what is happening, what's the business plan, what is the entire thing. So I feel it's so very important that women have to step up. And like Divya rightly said, there are so many women out there, but there's a dearth of women, and there are powerful women in powerful positions, talented women, but in the boards, there are very little women. And it's so important today, and that's why this synergy was so important for us.
Absolutely. And that brings me to a very interesting question that also is related with the conclave and also otherwise for the community at large, which is that a lot of times women feel, or participants might feel that, oh, I'm not on any board. So is this conclave relevant for me? Or I am not, or is this conversation then, relevant for me? I want to break it down into three things, which is number one, a lot of people do not know that being on a board as a director can actually catapult your career to another place. And I want Neha, you to throw some light on this. That what does it mean to be a board member? How one can look at it if you are somebody who comes with a body of experience. How can you be on boards, and how that can also be looked at as a flourishing, satisfying career where you are not only building your own profile but also the company's profile.
Great. So I would be really happy to answer this question, Mugdha, and thank you for asking this. There are many people when they call us. Mentor My Board is a platform, basically a digital platform that we have created, and directors or the aspiring directors keep on coming and calling us and asking us, okay, so what if I join your community? Do you guarantee a board position? And then we have to always say, it doesn't come that way. A board is a very closed area. I mean, a group of people, you can say, wherein it is generally known, or it is generally a known person who is on board. So people do not pick and choose from anyone who is available in that field. More so over, if you have certain qualities, your professional qualities, which are very relevant to what the board requires actually. So if you are, say, a CA or a CS, and if the board is actually looking out for a person who has that kind of experience, it is easier for you to get into the boards and take up that position. But if, for example, a board is looking out for someone who is a marketing expert, and then if you are a CA, you do not fit that requirement at that stage, at least. So yes, there are people who come and ask in this question whether, if we are professionals, can we join the boards, or can we think of joining the board? Yes, you can. Your experience, your knowledge, your expertise in the particular field that you are in, it counts. And whenever a board requires a certain quality or a certain criteria, you can say, that they need in that board composition, very importantly, they do hire, they do take up such board of directors on board, so that their internal board mix is set right.
uh, when we talk about women in this piece, right, a lot of times, and as Divya, you mentioned that it was only recently, 2013, you said, right, that
Yes.
that women representation was made mandatory on boards. And a lot of times you will see that boards are adding women members just for the sake of it. खाना पूर्ति कहते हैं हिंदी में, जैसे कि भाई क्योंकि हमको बोला गया है कि एक लेडी होनी चाहिए तो हमने उस लेडी को ऐड कर लिया। लेकिन यहाँ पर ये भी जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि बोर्ड मेंबर्स जो होते हैं, जो डायरेक्टर लेवल का होता है, उनकी बहुत सारी लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज भी होती हैं एंड लीगल रैमिफिकेशंस भी होते हैं। सो इट डजंट just mean that it is an honorary position. If something goes wrong in the company as a board member, you are also supposed to be answerable for it, right? how important does then understanding and education about the ramification of this responsibility and the roles and what can happen is important. And I think that is one piece that really needs to be fixed in this whole puzzle of understanding about women being given more responsibility and acting with more responsibility and knowing कि भाई मेरा ये role जो है ये केवल नाम का नहीं है and I am as much liable if something happens.
Absolutely. Mugdha, I'll break your entire thing into two parts. One is the legal implications, and another is about capability. So when we talk of legal implications, definitely being on boards is the highest responsibility what you carry. And it's a collective responsibility again. You cannot say that, okay, I was in a board meeting, but I am not party to the decision making. It never happens. Even if you have not given your consent, you're presumed to have given your consent when the decisions are happening, unless there is a dissent which you have very specifically mentioned and which get recorded in the minutes in case there is the legal complication coming up. So this is a collective decision making what also brings a lot of responsibility. So when a woman, or it's for anyone, see, when you are in a board, it's not about men women, it's about the directorship, because there people will not see, okay, she was a woman, she didn't know the rules and regulations. I mean, and the law, it's very clear. The ignorance of law is not an excuse. You need to know the law of the land. You need to know. And if I tell you, if you are a director, now I'm not saying only about independent director. I'm also speaking about startup directors. I'm also speaking about women who have formed their businesses. They're running their businesses. They're carrying their businesses in the corporate structure, private limited company or a public limited company, who are aspiring to get their companies listed on the exchanges, who want to grow their businesses. Now, all those women, when they are directors, they definitely carry those roles and responsibilities. And every decision making has its own ramifications, as you mentioned. Therefore, knowing those roles, responsibilities, liabilities, how you protect yourself while carrying on those duties, what are the safety nets? Like, for example, internal audits, statutory audits, secretarial audits. So these are the tools in the hand of directors to make sure that companies are run professionally, companies are run effectively, and there is no fraud in the company. How do you really do that, right? So that's one part of legal ramification, and it definitely needs trainings, and that's where we have created a lot of boardroom mastery programs. So these boardroom mastery programs are for family businesses. These boardroom mastery programs are for women directors. These boardroom mastery programs are for independent directors also. And it gives you complete 360-degree overview of how the boardrooms have to function. What is going to be your role as effective board leader, contributing director. Now, second comes is about the capability. Okay, I'm sitting in a board, but I'm not able to, participate in the board. I'm, not really knowing what the company is all about. I'm not really knowing how do you read financials in the boardroom. You
True.
get last moment 2 or 3 days before the bulk of 200, 300 pages as agenda when you are a part of a big listed company. How are you going to read all those 300, 500 pages? How are you going to, identify, again, asking right questions in the boardroom? That's also very, very important. So all these things, how do you ask right, which points you should ask the questions, how,
True.
you have to be assertive. So there are a lot of different aspects, and there you need to build capabilities, there you need to, learn and upskill. It's all about, I mean, I sit on boards today, I mean, almost 6 boards, and I still keep learning every day. Every time I'm interacting with someone, it's a learning process for me. So it's all about, continuous upskilling, continuous building of our skills and capabilities.
No,
So
you rightly
that's
said that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Divya, you
that
rightly said that it's not as easy as it looks like, कि मुझे board
100%.
member बना दिया है तो ये मतलब मेरे लिए एक honorary position है. But
Yes.
Neeta, interestingly, what happens, and we have been talking about this so often, that it is one thing to be given a seat on the table, and it is another thing to be treated seriously and have your voice heard on that table, right?
Absolutely.
And Nita, in your experience, have you seen women leaders who have been on this at this level, but not having the voice? Also, in family businesses, a lot of times not even family, I mean smaller households or a larger households, smaller income or a larger income, हमने कितनी बार सुना होगा कि the male member has come to the house and said ये पेपर साइन कर दो, इस पेपर पर तुम्हारे सिग्नेचर्स की जरूरत है, राइट? और
Right.
हम वहां से फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी शुरू करते हैं कि भाई तुम किस पेपर पे साइन कर रहे हो, तुमको ये अंदाजा है कि नहीं, कि तुम पढ़ तो लो उसमें क्या लिखा है, राइट? सो द क्वेश्चन देन अगेन इज हाउ independently are women thinking about their roles and what are they signing on, and what in your experience have you seen as is it, what is it conditioning? Does the mindset need to change? Is it the society, or is it women's own inability in thinking कि ये मेरे इंटरेस्ट का चीज है, ये मुझे देखना चाहिए?
Right, Mugdha. It's an awesome question, and I think this is so true. But I always believe, and I've always told every woman and every person that I meet, that financial literacy is financial self-defense. You cannot change the world. You cannot think, the mindset. Yes, it definitely affects the money messages that have been, told to you from years, and especially as women, it's always been somewhere said, the guys will handle the money, the boys will take care of things. And a lot of times, I mean, I've seen that in my own house, where my mom, though she was educated, she would not take part in the decisions of the family when it comes to money. My dad would give her the money and she would handle the household things. But she was very good at saving. But any investment decision, she was not involved. In fact, even for later years, when I was in college, I used to tell her, Mom, you need to understand. And she was like, No, no, it's dad is handling. And I've seen that with many clients, not just clients, I mean, not just women who are housewives, women who are in, really good positions, and they're earning quite a lot. I've seen surgeons, women surgeons who are there, and they're doing extremely well, amazing at their profession. Women who are on boards, amazing. But at times, I've seen that when it comes to taking the decisions, they are not aware. So that is why I believe the first step is about telling yourself that I want to change. You can't change everything around you. You can't say, oh, the government or it's a school that has not taught me. A lot of clients that I met, they say, oh, I know how to do everything else. I know how to earn money, but no one actually taught me how to manage money. So I think all these things are really very important, but the change starts from you. It's always within you. If you want to be, it is you. So definitely, I think this is such an awesome thing which Mentor My Board has done. If anyone wants to be a board member, it's not just about going there and say, oh, I want to be a board member. Are you ready for it?
True.
It's about being there when the opportunity is there, but having the skills ready, having yourself trained, taking charge of your life, and saying, no, I am ready and well equipped with all the tools that are available, and I'm going to be there and participate, not just be an onlooker, or not just be, like say, oh, I didn't know what happened. There's no excuse to ignorance. You need
Right.
to be aware and you need to be there. That's why financial literacy, yes, it is financial self defense that I always tell everyone.
Well, I just want to announce to our listeners that this session is getting recorded, so you can catch it otherwise as well. And also, please send in your questions. We are going to be taking questions. So, at any point in time, you feel like I need to ask this question, and Mugdha is not doing a good job of asking it, please send those questions, and I'm going to put them to our experts. I do have a few questions here, but I'll come to them before I ask. Before I want to ask. Uh, uh, a lot of times women feel that okay, I'm at this position, and Divya, and I would want to get your opinion on this, which is कभी कभी हमें लगता है कि हम एक स्ट्रैचर पे पहुंच गए हैं और अब हम सॉर्ट फॉर हैं कि हमें लोग अपने बोर्ड पे मेंबर्स बनने के लिए बुला रहे हैं, राइट? एंड यू हैव हर्ड दैट विद अ लॉट ऑफ वेरी पावरफुल women who are leading boards, etc., and they get board invitations dime a dozen. But before being on the board, it's not like an honorary membership. It comes with its own legality. What are the things that you should be careful about? It shouldn't be all right. It's great money. It's great, opportunity. I think there has to be some thought put behind what you're getting into. So, what are those things that one should definitely think before taking on an opportunity? I mean, sometimes not all opportunity is great opportunity. Also, it comes with its own set of risks.
Yeah, I think very, very interesting question, Mugdha. And I would, correlate it when, even Neha mentioned that it's not about, the board position, but it's also, usually the board positions do come up only with the closed connections. Now, first thing, my advice to everyone, who's getting opportunities and who is thinking of joining the boards, the most important thing is know the background of the promoters, know the background of who is inviting you, what has been their track record. Now there are a lot of tools which are available today. Go through the financials of the company, go through even the last 3 years financials, the track record of the company. Are there any legal actions against the company? What's And today we are living in a world of social media, so you can, when you Google, you get a lot of information how the image of the company is publicly. At the same time, how what employees, I mean, today there are platforms like Glassdoor where employees are talking about, the companies. So go and check what employees, how the culture of the company is. That's very, very important, because the culture starts at the top. And if, the organization is the robust, definitely the culture at the board also is robust. So these are some things which are very important. Again, there are, I mean, a lot of times it happens that we don't know everything. So there are professionals who can, even help you get the liability audit done. You can take your liability audit, that what if I join this company, is there any liability coming up? And those professionals can give you, I mean, today civil reports also, is a very, very, kind of a strong document which tells you the record of the company in, is it going to be NPA, is it going to be, going into financial trouble and liability. So all these things become very, very important when you're joining the board. Number two, also see who are the peer directors with you on board, because their reputation also is equally important. Which kind of boards you're joining in. Now, promoter directors may be good, but then other directors, who are they? What are their, kind of experience? And
Right.
most important is the third point which you should see is what value addition you will be able to add to that board. Will you be able to add any value? What is it that what is it that expectation which the board is coming to you? Is it only a tick box activity, or is it something which they are really, really looking at your expertise, your network, your connection, which they want to, kind of uh, leverage on? And that's where, what's the bonding. And again, most important thing is, now you also should ask the questions like, does the company has D&O insurance, directors and liability insurance, when you're joining a board? So, these are some very, very important points. And again, there are n number of other things as well, but these are some critical areas where you must evaluate. And again, when, you talk about financial literacy, you must read the financial statements of the company. And in case, it's not necessary that everyone knows everything, but then
Right.
there are experts available for everything. So you need to take that expert opinion and advice before you are joining the board, not after you land in problems. So that's very important.
Absolutely. I think that is one of the important pieces. And I'm sure Mentor My Board, and I've seen some of the courses that you do, which completely tell you about an all transparent way that be careful about what you're getting into. These are your responsibilities, and these could be the gains and losses. So you have to, it's not like just any other job where you can resign from. If there is a process, even in that, right? Neha, when we talk about, and I saw on the conclave also, this will be spoken about, and I'm very keen on getting opinions of the three of you on this. We talk about reservation, we talk about diversity quotas, we talk about, um, you know, feminism है तो अब इनको रिप्रेजेंटेशन करना होगा. बोर्ड्स में यूजुअली जब आप काम करते हैं, लोगों से मिलते हैं, डू यू सी अ रिजेंटमेंट ऑफ सॉर्ट्स, और डू यू सी देन that men look at women board members in a different way? What have they told you? And of course, you yourselves are on boards. What has your personal experience been about being in a board where perhaps it could be all men and only those positions that have to be filled by quota? You make your presence there, and you get judged for it. How do you handle that?
To be really honest to you, Mugdha, men are always ready to help women out of this situation. Okay, it is we who need to take the charge, as Neeta rightly mentioned. It is we who have to change. We who have to go out and say, "Okay, boss, I'm ready for this. Please help me." Wherever you are stuck up, you can ask for it, you can demand for it, and people are ready to help. So generally my observation has been always that people are there to help and support you. It is we who get stuck up, or we who hold back. We hold us back, and we do
Hmm.
not openly ask for help. So that is where the change would start with us.
That's a great point. Be open to suggestions and getting asked for help. But
Exactly.
Nita and Divya, it's also a nice world, where we think that uh, you know we might get support. But also there is the other spectrum where you don't really get that support, where you're put in situations where you are uncomfortable, and then I think a lot of this work will have to be around mental making and your own mental strength about dealing with that pressure. um, Divya, would you want to chime in on this?
Yeah. So, I mean, if I tell you about my experience, I sit on few boards, and whenever I am in the boards, I don't think there is any difference between men and women. The questions are, the presentations are to the board, all the board members. The questions are there to all the board members, and even the promoter directors have been openly asking to all independent directors that, do you have any opinion? Do you have any feedback? So they don't ask only to men or women. It doesn't happen that way. But yes, I have seen few boards, because I also am a company secretary, and I have been practicing as company secretary for last 20 years. I mean, 15 years, and in the profession last 20 years. I've seen women having that biases. Men have that biases against women, and when women start speaking in the boards, the entire board starts countering those. And
Hmm.
then, why you need to know, why this is required. We are not supposed to give answer to this. So promoter directors go into that defensive mode. Those things I've seen. So it's not that all the boards are alike. But then that's why I mentioned that you need to choose the board very wisely. There will be all sort of people. There will be all sort of companies. What is the culture of the company? Which kind of company you are coming in? What is going to be the respect? And if, I mean, very very clear, I have seen women doing it. If you feel the voice is not being heard, most important thing is get it recorded, that I have mentioned
Hmm.
this. That's it. I have mentioned that this is my opinion. Get it recorded.
Interesting.
Number two, if repeatedly it's happening, step down.
Hmm.
Rather than fighting in the system, definitely there are ways, you go and fight for it. But then if you can't change, most important thing is change yourself and move out of that situation before the situation gets worse. Because we as women are not, definitely we handle a lot of trauma, pressure at
Right.
home, work life balance. But then when it comes, to handle a lot of professional challenges or pressure, it a lot of times shatters. Before
True.
all those difficult situations come in, move out. So,
Right.
and
uh,
I've seen women doing it. And if you're not doing it, then we are equally capable to handle all kind of situations after that as well. But my suggestion or my experience, if I tell you, be choose the boards very wisely where you are. And the moment you feel something is not working, first thing is raise your voice, speak up. And if you feel you can't change the system,
this is a
silently move on.
Right. No, it's a very practical advice as well. But I also feel, Nita, do women feel an imposter syndrome, which the men don't feel? On being on boards, you just feel, हाँ
Right.
मेरे पे एहसान किया है मुझे लेकर. you know, do you
Absolutely. I
feel
think
that?
that sometimes it's not fair blaming the men. It's also the woman herself, and sometimes, I mean, it's not just with men; it's also with women altogether, where it's like they don't find a voice. So it's not fair. As I said, it's always about men or blaming the men, because I've got a very supportive husband. When I was working, I had got some very supportive. men who are always there. My mentors are few real good men who actually guide me, and I'm able to ask them any questions. So, and also when I've been dealing with a lot of clients, and when I've been preparing their plans for their company, for their personal finance, the men have been telling the women, come in and listen. And it's the women saying, oh, okay, it doesn't interest me, it's fine. So I think, yeah, it's not fair to always blame the men. It is up to each one of us. And it's us feeling कि okay, have they done a, क्योंकि ये है inclusion, हमको करना है करके हमको ले लिया है. It's not that. That's where we need to be having the knowledge. We need to be ready. We need to be prepared, and we need to be aware. When we are entering any board, if we are not aware of the things and we say, oh, it's just because I've got it, I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna be a part of the board, it doesn't make sense. You are taking things for granted. But when you are there with the full passion and think, oh, I want to go, I want to make this do well, and I want to come out and help this organization, I think then there is women are unstoppable. Each woman is a powerhouse. So it's, I think
The
it's up to
mindset
each one
then
of
needs
us.
a shift. The mindset then needs to shift
Yes,
for both
yes.
men and women, I guess.
And we should not
Mugdha,
look for
Mugdha,
outside. We should not
Divya,
look for from everything from outside. It's from within. It's like filling up the air
let's
balloons.
start from here.
Yeah, it should be from within.
Neha, you were
Mugdha,
Sorry.
to
I
say.
would just like to add here something. So, when we came up with this Women Directors Conclave this year in particular, there were people asking us, अच्छा women directors conclave तो men नहीं आएंगे क्या इसमें? So we were like, no, it is open for women and men, but then it is termed as Women Directors Conclave. ठीक है? And then when we opened the registrations, the first registration that we received was from a man.
How
So we
wonderful.
were like,
How
people
wonderful.
come forward, men come forward more easily, and they register or they participate, they come together. But then we hold ourselves back somewhere or the other, and that is where we do not reach out to people. If suppose there is some term as men's director conclave, तो शायद बहुत women जाएंगी नहीं वहां पे. I mean,
No.
we won't even bother to
Wouldn't
ask
even
them
reach
कि boss,
out.
are women
Yes.
allowed?
So true.
That's true, but I think it's also important for these board members who are also going to be looking at, when we talk about reservation and we spoke about that whole narrative, when even people see gender neutral people as great leaders, as great board members, even when they see that, all right, this woman has taken the initiative of investing in herself with her knowledge, with her experience, with her expertise, obviously, then it doesn't become about men or man or a woman. Then it becomes about, all right, I can't find anybody better than this person because she has the EQ, IQ, and whatever is required for this. So I'm happy that that on the conference there will be men as well who will be seeing how women today are also taking charge in understanding their roles and being great at it. So we are at the 42-minute count, and now I am going to take a few questions. One of the questions, Divya, Neha, one of you can tell us, and I think you did touch upon it when you started talking, Divya, which is somebody is asking, I want to be on a board. Should I consider acquiring qualifications such as CACS or maybe the law? Is that a prerequisite? I come from a marketing background. Can I be on a board?
Okay, so I think very interesting question. Uh, you don't really need to be a CA or CS to be on boards. There are a lot of men, women I have seen, they don't have the financial background, but yes, you should have business acumen. That is very, very important when you are sitting on the board. You should, again, definitely able to read financials, because that's the very important part and aspect of boards, because that's where the decision making happens. The financials are approved and so on and so forth. Awareness is important, knowledge is important, but you don't need that technical, too deep technical knowledge. But you should know what is the current ratio, what is the, what are the cash flows of a company, what are the, different ratios, how the financial statements have to be read. So overall, you should be financially literate at a board level, but you don't need those legal knowledge. But yes, you should be aware, if I have to resign from a board, what are the nitty gritties. If insider trading, if you are on a listed company board, can I trade in my own company securities? No, you cannot trade. You need certain specific pre and post approvals when you're you are purchasing shares of the company on which you are director as independent. Even if the company is listed, the promoters, directors cannot go and simply trade in the market in their own securities. So insider trading regulations of SEBI are very, very stringent. So all these things need to be aware. I mean, you need to know, and then this information or this expertise can be acquired. Again, you don't need to be a CA or CS. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
lot of directors who have background. They are people's person. Companies take them because company always has been struggling to get good guidance on the human resource, the processes, and so on and so forth. So they take people who are from the HR background. A lot of people also take the CEOs or the CXOs for the businesses, the retired people from the banks, the regulators, IAS officers, IAS officers,
Mm-hmm.
also come on boards because they come with a lot of rich network. And if you have a good network, you can be on boards. If you have good expertise, any expertise, I mean, if somebody has an engineering expertise, company is into manufacturing, your expertise will be, if you, for example, if you are a Six Sigma uh,
Right.
black belt, that can definitely help company in some or the other way. So it's about the contribution what you can make, but not only the CA or CS. So that's usually seen as a most preferred kind of a profession which are very closely working with boards. But
Right.
then that's not the only profession who can be on boards.
Okay.
Anyone, I mean, engineering, architecture. And see, when you're starting your own business, you're already a director. Then you're not necessarily be a chartered accountant. I always tell one example to everyone. If you are a MBA, you might be from best of the best IIMs. If you are an engineer, you might be from best of the best IITs. If you are a director, then there is no formal education for the role of director. So you need to be having that 360-degree overview, and most importantly, a business acumen to be
Hmm.
on boards. You should understand the business. And it's not only that, okay, I only understand marketing. You need to know
True.
how the sales are happening. You need to know how the finance is getting managed. You need to know how the processes are there in the system. You need to know the HR aspects of it. So that 360-degree overview of the business has to be there with you when you are coming on board.
Attached to it is another question, Neha. If I can ask you, a lot of people are asking if I find myself capable, if I have the qualifications, but how do I find opportunity?
Wow, very interesting. So, a part of it I've already addressed when we discussed earlier. So, as Divya ji also mentioned very rightly, your network is your net worth when it comes to a board position. The more known you are to the people, the more known, or you have that say in things, or you have that expertise, or you have that knowledge which a board would require, is the best way, or is the most comfortable way you get into board position. And definitely once you are in that position, you are able to contribute as well. So that is very important. Just being in the position doesn't matter. If you are an able enabled contributor as well is more important.
Do you
So
also
So I'll
yes.
approach
also add on.
people by saying,
I'll just add on to what Neha said. If somebody wants to be on board, if somebody wants to be on board, there are two different aspects to it. One
hmm,
is being as independent director, independent women director, right? Because regulation has mandated every listed company to have a women independent director. So
right,
if that is the case, then they should acquire a qualification, a certification from IICA, which is Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. They have a examination, and they have a complete online certification process which women have to necessarily complete. Once they complete, then they are eligible to be on the boards as independent director. Second
got
is,
it.
if you want to be, yeah, second thing is, if you don't want the legal liabilities, but you
Hmm.
have good expertise, then there is an option of getting appointed as board of advisors. You be director on board, you are a advisory board member, but then that's not a kind of a formal board, right? Your name is not on the Ministry of Corporate Affairs data bank as director. You are a advisor in the form of a director on the board. Now,
Interesting.
that's one area. But yes, again, there also, which board you are getting associated, which network, all those things you need to be very, very careful.
Divya, I think it's a great way to start to assess
Absolutely, that's the
how
starting
good
point,
you
is the
are.
perfect
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
yeah.
that
Can I
helps
get
you to
now
understand
some?
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can I get some closing comments because we are at the 50 mark? So, Divya, if I may start with you, what can people expect from the conclave? And yeah, I mean, parting thoughts.
Okay, so if I tell you, my closing remarks, I would urge every women director, every women professional, every women entrepreneur who's running their own businesses and they wish to see their companies listed on the stock exchange, none other than the opportunity to come and experience how the stock exchange looks like, what that let me tell you, that international convention hall where lot of listing ceremonies happen, it's a remarkable, iconic, uh, hall where,
Place.
yeah,
Yeah,
place where,
absolutely. And one is getting the
even
opportunity to go there.
go there, experience it, and that will give you that confidence that one day I want to get my company listed on the exchange. So a lot of women entrepreneurs must be there. At the same time, if someone is, even into the executive position, senior
Right.
management positions, and how they can escalate to the next level of leadership is something, they should be there. And last but not the least, I mean, there is going to be a special program which is going to be launched by Honorable FM, which is Women on Management and Boards. So this
Hmm.
program will be, a complete, kind of a package for women to get, how do I say, uh, groomed for the board position. So
Oh, how wonderful! So there's a launch
yeah,
of a new course that
yes,
will groom somebody. Oh, wow, that's an
The name
opportunity.
is
Fantastic.
WOMB. The name is WOMB. That
WOMB.
is Women on Management and Boards.
And how long is the course for? Uh, if I can ask, so or is it for the announcement day?
Yeah, it's for the announcement day, but let me
All
tell you,
right,
it's going to be a 3 months handholding program coupled with
fantastic.
lot of different phases. Because in one day you go to a seminar, you can't, be ready. So
Oh,
there
it's an
are a lot of different
extensive
phases.
program for 3 months.
Yes,
Fantastic.
yes.
All right.
So
Wow,
stay
a
tuned.
lot of stuff to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nita.
and I would like to urge all the corporates here. I mean, if any corporates are listening to us, I would like to urge them to come in, join in, and also nominate their board members to this conclave. So
Right.
over to you,
Yeah,
Divya.
because yeah, because once even you are on the board, I think the members can also, or companies can also look at giving their board members that opportunity to learn. And somebody is here
Obviously,
doing that for you. You know, if you don't have the
yes,
time to groom, you have
correct.
someone who is doing that for you. Fantastic. I feel it's a
And it's a
brilliant
continuous
opportunity.
nurturing or continuous upgradation and understanding that is required. So definitely, corporates can come in and nominate their boards for the conclave as well.
Fantastic. Nita, the last
Yeah,
word is going to be yours because we are the community partners and I'm very excited. And, you know, initially I was thinking because I'm just traveling back on that day and I was thinking of doing it offline. लेकिन अब शायद ऑनलाइन नहीं होगा ऑफलाइन ही करना होगा.
Oh yes,
Excellent,
absolutely.
excellent.
absolutely. I mean, it's been such an awesome discussion and, a lot of learnings, Divya and Neha. Thank you so much. During this session, I've learned so much from both of you, about being on boards and what is required and how to groom the youngsters. And I think it is so very important. I think every woman should be there, and every man who's also supporting their woman should get them and get them there, because it's so very
Yes,
important. We are every woman, as I say, is always is a powerhouse. Together, we can create an impact, and I think this is a wonderful thing that you all are doing. So I would urge every woman, every man, get your better half or good half or whatever, get them there, be there, and be a part of this. And at WICCI Financial Literacy and Management Council, our aim has always been, to help spread financial literacy, spread the important things that is required by every woman to, step out there and make a change, make a meaningful difference. And I think this has been a wonderful synergy because together we can create an impact, and from ripples we are going to have waves. So I think let's, Mugdha, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, the kind of questions that you've been asking and the interactions. And thanks to the audience as well. You've come out with lovely questions, maybe ones which we didn't think of. And like
Yes.
Neha said, I think every corporate should ensure that they send, nominate their women directors and send them, because it's going to help each one of us and it's going to help the country as a whole and globally as well.
Very,
Thank you. Thank you so
very.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ladies. It was
Mugdha, and thank you,
wonderful.
Nita,
So
as
much.
well. Yeah,
Mugdha
thank
And
you
and
for
I'm
Nita,
being
this
our
was a
community
great
partner
chat.
and spreading the word.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to do a recap, which is that
Perfect.
we at the Financial Literacy Council are very excited about being community partners. And to tell you all again, Women Directors Conclave 2022 is being hosted by Mentor My Board with partnership with BSE on the 16th of September, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can expect to hear some wonderful voices at the BSE International Convention Hall in Mumbai. So there are many reasons for being part of this iconic conclave. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And we shall see you soon at the conclave.
Thank you
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
so
Look
much,
forward.
Nita and Mugdha.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Bye bye.
We
Looking
look
forward to
forward
see
to
all of
both of you being there with us
you. Yes,
at the special day. Yes.
We'll be there.
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.